Hi class, this week for my presentation I'm going to be discussing psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis was very new to psychology, kind of a very new approach. Traditionally, psychology started as a science of the conscious and then would be later adapted and turned into more of a science of behavior. Psychoanalysis was very, very different from those two. Psychoanalysis really put a focus on the unconscious mind. Unlike approaches that came before it, which stemmed from academic or experimental psychology, psychoanalysis resulted from the clinical practices that were established by Leitner Whitmer. The goals of psychoanalysis was all about the discovery of the cause of mental illnesses. The emphasis on this unconscious mind is what really set apart psychoanalysts and psychoanalysis in general. Opposing the traditional view of viewing mental illness as having some physical cause, that kind of mechanistic positivistic idea where all illness has a physical cause, psychoanalysis believed that there was a psychological cause to these mental illnesses. Particularly things such as traumatic experiences is what was the key focus. Freud is often given credit as the leader of psychoanalysis, and this is true. But there were those that came before him that kind of helped pave the path, such as Leibniz's monadology, Herbard's threshold for the conscious, Fetcher's unconscious, Brentano's motivation, and of course, last but not least, Joseph Breuer. Freud even goes so far as to give credit to Breuer for the founding and being the father of psychoanalysis because of the work that he did with Anna O. So, just discussing Anna O a little bit, she was a 21-year-old female who had a variety of symptoms relating to hysteria, and Breuer would relax her, hypnotize Anna O, and would have her reflect and recollect the first time she remembered experiencing a symptom. And upon discussing this experience, the symptom would kind of dissipate. And this would eventually lead to what we call the cathartic method, where we have an unconscious idea or experience that is leading to or is manifesting itself in a physical symptom being displayed via consciousness. So we finally allow ourselves to kind of talk about it, and then the symptom dissipates. This whole idea of talking leading to the cure is what led Anna O to refer to psychoanalysis as the talking cure. So also stemming from his work with Breuer, Freud learned that oftentimes a patient can start to view the therapist in a very high light and viewing them as a very, very significant person in their life. This is often called transference, even though they may view, Anna O began to view Breuer as her father, even though he was just her therapist. On the other hand, therapists often or can just as likely begin to view their client in an emotional light, and this is called countertransference. So Freud and Breuer would eventually publish their research on Anna O in the studies on hysteria, and the publishing of studies on hysteria is often where we consider to be the official founding of psychoanalysis. Thank you for your time. I hope you guys have learned a little bit more about psychoanalysis and have a good rest of your week. Bye.